Hello, my name is Abby Maiwald. I'm a first grade teacher at Whitsett Elementary School and a student at Vanderbilt University pursuing a master's degree in reading education. I'm currently sitting with the fabulous Miss Heidi Wright. Heidi is the reading specialist here at Whitsett Elementary School in Nashville, Tennessee, and she works tirelessly to ensure that our students have the best literacy education possible. She meets weekly with each grade level team in the school to plan literacy instruction, review data, and support teachers. She also hosts frequent professional development opportunities and trainings for our teachers to improve their literacy practice, and she somehow finds time to keep our school book room perfectly organized. She's amazing, and we're so lucky to have her here at Whitsett. Heidi, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me this afternoon.
I'm excited to talk about literacy. It's going to be great.
Yay! So in our Education 6400 class, we've been discussing various models of reading. This week, we discussed the sociocultural perspective of literacy development and multiple models of expressing knowledge. I'm really excited to talk about this topic with you because I think we're doing so much of this here at Whitsett. So in one of our readings this week, I came across the quote, "A good language arts program is one that expands the communication potential of all learners through the orchestration and use of multiple ways of knowing for purposes of ongoing interpretation and inquiry into the world." Given that we have so many English language learners and such a diverse student population, how do you see our language arts program here at Whitsett giving our students the opportunity for multiple modes of expressing knowledge, and why do you believe this is so important?
So yes, we definitely have a lot of English language learners, and we've discussed a lot in PD and just in general how we're trying to access that knowledge in some way, and that does need to come in different forms. And so besides just speaking to students and reading lots of great texts and things like that, we've also pursued doing some other ways of them showing what they've learned. So we've been thinking maps trained. We've learned a lot of different Kagan strategies for kids to walk around and do gallery walks or do think, pair, share, and things like that. We've also done a lot of visual representations, especially in the upper grades, to help understand some of these really difficult concepts that we've talked about, or just some social issues that were going on. We've done some visual representations, and we've gotten a lot more from our English language learners just because they're more confident in their artistic abilities than necessarily their oral abilities, but they still are able to discuss it, just maybe not into the depths they can put it into their illustrations. Mm-hmm. So it's been really interesting to see them evolve in other forms. Also, because technology is so huge, we've been trying to push for them being able to actually type out their thoughts, but also blog about their thoughts. And so we've modeled that for some of our fourth graders at the school, and they actually are like, it just connects with them on a whole, like a newer level. And we're again seeing kids thrive because they are expressing their knowledge in a different way that's not as like standard and mm-hmm. What they typically would do. And so obviously all those things are important. We know that they are gaining knowledge, and we want to make sure that they're able to share that knowledge, and it doesn't always need to come in the same form every single time. So we're trying to roll out some different things, and we're seeing a lot of success with that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's exciting. So
our readings this week also talked about transmediation, the transfer of knowledge from one medium to another. Whitsett just became a STEAM school focusing on environmental engineering, which is really exciting. Mm-hmm. How do you foresee STEAM supporting literacy and allowing for transmediation of literacy learning here at Whitsett?
Yes, it's so exciting to be a STEAM school this year. We're still kind of learning that process and what mm-hmm. that looks like with having, all these different related arts teachers, and, the biggest piece is being able to plan with them so they understand exactly what's happening in core instruction, so they're able to do those additional pieces of supporting in our literacy block. Obviously you already know, but we did do our rollout of our big, huge STEAM unit at the beginning of the year, and, having those teachers in related arts in our STEAM extension be able to show those kids those texts in their classrooms, and also be able to extend it into projects and hands-on experiments. And we've also, the music teacher has worked with some, creating some songs and lyrics based off the text that they read. So he's mm-hmm. done some, lyrical work, which is really exciting. And we've worked in some of our grades, too, with having them take, a story and put it into a song. And so that's also really exciting and a different way of supporting literacy. We've done we're trying, I guess, to plan with related arts as best we can and give them, mm-hmm. Our plans so they can see how they can fit in that engineering piece. And then also PE, for example, we were doing American Indians, a Native Americans unit in one of our grade levels, and so what they did was they talked about these Native Americans in the STEAM classes, and they designed a game that the Native Americans used to use, and then they used the game in PE, and then they learned some Native American songs and music, and then they did some like artistic like symbols work in art. So it was like in every class they were getting like an extension of what they were learning in core. So it was really cool to see.
Is that what all those hoops were?
Yes, exactly.
So cool.
Yeah. So yeah, they had these hoops, and I don't even know exactly what the game was called, but they got to design them and then they got to play with them. So I thought that was really cool. And again, it doesn't always work out perfectly, but for that unit, it was really awesome to see just, how it was going across all different aspects of our school and STEAM. And then also I was thinking about like kind of when we're moving forward, because we are an environmental engineering school, we talked a lot about how later in one of our units it is a lot about the environment. Like we're going to be reading a lot of texts about like how can we help our community, and how can we design things to make things better in our community. And so for that one, we talked about our bridge here at Whitsett and how it's not like in great shape, and how since we are an environmental engineering school, how we could make that like we could redesign that and talk about it in some of our texts, but then make a new bridge, and then also just kind of extend it into our science class and do some experiments around like what's going on down by that creek, and just really get them into it. So I'm excited about that. Yeah, there's some really great units where it plugs in really nicely, and I think the more PD we get on just how to integrate everything, I think we'll be developing some really strong units. So I'm excited.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And the one we just finished was amazing.
Yeah,
The
that
kids
was really
loved
fun.
it.
You have to start somewhere, and I think it was cool to see all the kids talk about the same text, and they all kind of looked at it in a different light. And so just because it was a text that was more of a third, fourth grade level, but first grade was still able to access that text with their scaffolds, and they learned a lot about character development, were able to compare and contrast. But then when they got into fourth grade, they were looking at different themes that were within the book, and that's a whole other different level. And it was just neat to see how the conversation piece got even deeper as it got into the upper grades. So
It was great.
Yeah.
They absolutely loved it.
Yay.
And last night at STEAM night, they were so excited to look at the books and show the books to their
Oh,
parents.
I'm so glad.
It was so
I know.
fun.
I had a couple parents come and say, when are you giving away the books, for the raffle? Because, my daughter really wants it. And so, anyway, we're going to have to get our hands on more of those books, because they love the series, and it's great. So
exciting.
It is.
The sociocultural perspective of literacy development discusses how meaning is culturally and socially constructed, and that cultural and social components must be built into each model of reading, utilized within the classroom. How do you suggest that teachers here at Whitsett integrate social and cultural contexts within their literacy instruction, especially given our linguistically and culturally diverse student population?
So I think something just to start, I'm going to be going into my 6th year at Whitsett. We've really built up this book room to have a lot of options when it comes to just culturally diverse text. And so not just seeing it in interactive read alouds, but also seeing it during guided reading time. So it's not the same that we're able to show them different ethnicities in the book and just different countries, and I just love that part about it. So just books in general, we've tried to build that up over time, and that does take time, because we don't just have Hispanic students here. We also have Somalians, and we have Kurdish, and so we're trying to find some other cultural diverse texts besides just Hispanic as well. So that's kind of the first step with trying to make sure that that we're reaching our entire population. Another thing is, we've taken some real, tough world issues that are going on, immigration and things like that, to have some really strong debates in the classroom, to kind of just let kids really talk about how they're feeling about the way society is going, or the way, just some big news topics. And so we've seen kids that typically wouldn't talk in class really, come out of their shell to just be really passionate about something that means a lot to their family and their culture. And so immigration, deportation, things like that have really been heavy units for us. And it's been, I think, something that needs to be addressed, and I think some kids that maybe weren't aware of those issues, it was brought to their attention and they became more passionate about it because of the unit. And so, again, we've changed units just based off some really big, tough issues that are out there right now. But another thing I thought about too is just we want to travel the world. We want them to know that they're, the way we are here in the United States is not always the way people are in other continents. They do different things, and like this is what it's like. And so we recently read The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind, and it talked to about about the boy who made the windmill to create electricity for his town in Maui and or his village in Maui. And anyway, it was good for them to see not only the fact that like this is how some people live in different places around the world, but also that like you can make a huge impact even at a very young age, and like you can design and do these great things, and when you have a passion and you have a want to like figure out and make something better, you can do it. And so again, I think just giving them that exposure and not necessarily always in like their typical setting that they would see every day, like here in Nashville. So it was just neat for them to see like you may not come from a place that has a lot of money or whatever, but you can still make these big changes and you can do it. So I think the units are really powerful, and again, making it connect to like their lives and to other people in their classrooms' lives. They have a little bit more of a respect for people when they understand a little bit more about them and where they come from. So
that is really powerful.
Yeah.
So many exciting things are happening this year, and I'm so excited to see how the students grow as the year progresses. They've already grown so much. What are you most excited for this year in our literacy instruction?
I am really excited. I feel like as far as where we started, and we were just learning the balanced literacy framework when I came, and there was a lot of focus on that whole group, interactive read aloud, and then guided reading was a big focus, and now I feel like writing has really become a huge focus for this year. And so now that we have Writer's Workshop, I just strongly believe that some of our kids' voices are gonna really start to come out, and they're gonna be able to have more choice in what they write about and just not feel so stressed about just a lot of the pressures that they feel, I think, when they come to school. And I've heard so many great things already from different teachers just saying like, wow, kids are already writing a lot longer, for their stamina is longer. They're already writing with more detail. They're really like making an effort to label or to write a sentence. And so and that's mainly in the younger grades, but in the upper grades, we're just seeing they're starting to elaborate a little bit more. So I'm just really excited to
please
see.
Don't forget to get a slice of that pineapple upside down cake, so I want to take it home with me. All right, thank you. It's in the library.
I'm just really excited to see the work that comes from Writer's Workshop. And then in addition, we have a lot of writing going on just in response to text. So I want to see the two marinate. So there's like some free choice with the writing, but also some like task writing as well. And I think our kids are growing a lot, and writing is something that can always be be made stronger and perfected. And so we need time to write, and I think now we're finally like making an effort to put that time in and to really give them like really strong feedback. So
yeah, we're looking forward to rolling it out next week.
I know,
it'll be fun. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me this afternoon and to discuss multiple modes of expressing knowledge, transmediation, and the sociocultural perspective of literacy development and literacy instruction here at Whitsitt. You've provided so much expertise, and I'm really looking forward to planning with you in the future to integrate some of the things we've talked about into my own classroom instruction. Thank you again for sharing your knowledge with me.
Absolutely.